I think each one has a very specific place. So I'll start with adaptive. So adaptive is where the purge unit is going to run every 4 hours, like on a time clock, basically. And it's only going to come online, or it will come online whether the machine is on or off. So even if it's in an off state, as long as I'm remembering the sequence on that correctly, even when the machine is not running, it will turn the purge system on and it will run a purge cycle. And what it's looking for is it's just trying to see, okay, do we need to go into a pump out? What do the conditions look like? And I don't remember all the specific parameters off the top of my head, but ultimately, once it completes that cycle, which is just based off of a run timer, it will then shut down and it will go another 4 hours before it needs to try to come back on and see how we're doing in terms of non-condensables. And that'll be true whether the compressor is on or off. So even when the compressor is on, the purge unit will sit in a idle state until it hits that runtime, and then it will come online and it will see, okay, do I have a non-condensable stacking or not? So it's meant to, from my understanding, it's meant to try to save energy by running the purge system less frequently. And if you have a tight system, meaning it has very little to no leaks, I think that is a great method to go with. I'm a big fan of the adaptive setting at that point. Now, when we get into the territory where we do have some consistent leaks, maybe they're not big, they're not major, but it's enough to where we're having several minutes of pump out time uh, within each 24-hour segment. Well, one of the things I've seen is if we leave it in adaptive for those kind of conditions, eventually the adaptive will start to lose control of being able to keep up with that. It's been what my experience has shown. As that, of course, as the leak gets worse, it's obviously going to get worse and or lose control more. But ultimately, if I have known leaks that just haven't been addressed yet, I don't find adaptive is our best method, and auto at that point tends to work better. Now, auto is only going to run the purge when the compressor is on, though. So when the compressor is not on, auto is not going to engage the purge system. It's just going to run. It's only going to run during operation, but it will run the entire time. It's not going to shut off, and it'll only pump out as it needs to. But we're running the purge compressor and fan and all that continuously during the same time the compressor is also running. So if we're just trying to maintain or mitigate a active leak that we haven't gotten to address yet, as long as it's not too bad, then auto becomes a better choice at that point. If I am concerned I don't have a tight machine. Now, on is what it says. It doesn't matter if the compressor is on or off. The purge unit will come on and will stay online running its compressor, and it will actively monitor for pump out cycle just the same. If you have a severe contamination of the refrigeration system or the refrigerant circuit, then on can help you do something. You can leave the machine in on and allow it to go through a lot of pump outs and stuff in order to try to get those non-condensables out of the circuit. And it can help with that. One of the things you're going to run into, though, is these purge systems, the refrigerant lines connect at a midpoint on the condenser. They don't connect to the top of the condenser, which in operation when the chiller is running, the midpoint is the best point because that's where the non-condensables are going to settle during operation. They're gonna be right about where those purge lines are connected to. But when the machine is off, the non-condensables are going to rest at the top of the machine or at the top of the barrel. And when they get trapped there, the purge can't access those non-condensables. So there could be a lot of them still stacked in there, but because the compressor is not on, the purge can't get to them. And so that is one of the things where on only gets you so far if you're dealing with a heavily contaminated machine. You'll have to have the compressor run on some scale and push those non-condensables down further into the condenser barrel in order to get them into the purge system to get them rejected. Now, something that is really important to understand is The purge unit is responsible for non-condensables, and moisture and water are a condensable in the circuit. That's why we have a purge filter leaving the filter, the purge assembly, is so that the purge filter can then try to remove that water and moisture that condenses with the refrigerant and tries to flow back out. But that also means we have to keep up with that filter very consistently. And if we have a machine that is having a lot of leak and or non-condensable issues, or having really high pump out times, we're likely going to have to really stay on top of mitigating moisture or water accumulation as well, which means really staying on top of that purge filter on a pretty consistent basis. Because that'll be the other thing, is we'll just start stacking water in the refrigerant circuit because we're having these leaks, and that water will just continuously accumulate if we don't keep up with the purge filter and the dryers that we have in the circuit.